us know a little bit about your background. How long have you been at Regis?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Pam. I really appreciate it. I'm ecstatic. I'm excited to be here to represent our coaching staff, myself and Coach Santa Fe. We have a great staff. We have 10 men's programs, 10 women's programs. So I'm really glad to be here to represent that. Nate Hager, I've been here. Boy, I've been here. I'm actually going into year 14, Pam. We were counting them up in year 14. I started the men's basketball program. So when I got here, we were an all-women school, transitioning to a co-ed institution. So I'm actually the all-time winningest and all-time coach here at Regis. So
And the only coach, but
and the only coach, yeah. So it's it's a blessing. Pam hit it on the head. There are some things that make Regis stick out, and Santi said, I think the two words, the resources and the tools that we can provide, so that you can find your path, you can be successful, not only in athletics, because we know athletics is an extension of the classroom. It is, these are tools for you to be successful academically. These are tools for you to be successful on campus, but more importantly, when you leave Regis. And that's what this whole thing is about. So the first thing I think that really differentiates us is our full-time head coaches, the availability that is there. We tell the guys in our program, when the doors open, come in, and we will stop what we're doing. And this is my only job. I don't have a day job. This is my day job. And it's huge. And it sets us apart from a lot of the schools, not only, in the Boston area, but in New England. The second part of that is the graduate assistant coaches. I've been a part of now 5 different graduate assistant coaches that have worked for me, and almost all of them are still in coaching, have gone on and are other assistant coaches at other institutions. It's a tremendous resource for our student athletes because they live here on campus. So if there is anything that you would need or someone to talk to, if there's an emergency situation, and typically the GAs are, just a little bit removed from their own playing career. So as a little bit of a bridge between the head coach and the assistant coach. I don't think I'm that old, but I think that there is, that gap that is filled by the GAs. I think, I mentioned that, being outside of Boston is a huge plus.
Right.
With that, all our facilities are on campus, and it is. It's huge. I think our floor is maybe 3 or 4 years old. We have a 3 or 4 year old floor, so it's a great that's a great facility. Our track and field, our softball complex, our tennis complex, all right here within walking distance. You don't need to get in a van or anything and travel down. One of the things that we installed 2 years ago, going on its 3rd year of use, is our appointment only weight room. Our strength and conditioning coach is a huge asset for us to get to where we want to be from that standpoint, but also from injury prevention. Our strength and conditioning coach and his assistants, work with each team individually. Again, just it separates us from not only schools in our conference, it separates us from the rest of New England. With the mentioning our conference, we're in the Great Northeast Athletic Conference, the GNAC. extremely competitive. It is. It is all our teams play in the GNAC. From the basketball side, it's a close to being even a two-bid league on both sides, the
Yep.
women's side and the men's side. Our soccer's, everyone is very, very competitive. The last GNAC championship was from our women's track team
Yep.
last year, and men's and women's the year prior. So each sport is striving to be competitive and get to the championship level. And it's something that I once heard, the wins and losses kind of fade away, but it's always the experience, that you have. And I think that, what we have here at Regis lends to such a great experience on the court, but more importantly off the court, and that's where, it's gonna pay dividends down the road. With that, I'd like to just pass it back over to Dean Roker and talk about a role on campus for our student athletes.
Nate, thank you so much. In your experience, I think you've seen quite a bit of change at Regis. I know going into the GNAC, it's a 13-school league, and some of you may be looking at some other schools in the GNAC. I can tell you it's competitive. Our women's basketball coach on the call, Ange, knows it's competitive as well. It's 13 schools. It's made up of all the states in New England. It was a big move for Regis to go into this conference. It's a conference that we, as Nate mentioned, feel like we're comprehensively competitive. So whether it's swimming or tennis or softball or lacrosse, soccer, I can mention all the sports. They all play in the league that Nate talked about. And that was a big boost. You want to have a chance to win. You want to have a chance. And Nate was talking about the two bids. It's an opportunity to win the GNAC to get the automatic bid to go into NCAA tournament play. That's what we're striving for. That's what we want to do. And we've won 40 plus championships, I think, over the last decade. So as you read more about our program, you're going to learn more about that excellence. In terms of the facilities on campus, Nate, I really want to just jump on that as a differentiating factor, as our prospective student athletes on the call do have choices. Really think about that, and I think about it from a wear and tear standpoint. So our student athletes, and Santi, I know you know this, basically live on campus, can walk to their soccer field, which is a beautiful turf field. Whether it's our swimmers going to the swimming pool, tennis players, we have a dedicated softball complex under lights. Our tennis courts are also under lights. The gym that Nate was referring to when he talked about the basketball floor, it's where both of our volleyball teams play and our basketball teams. Tremendous home court advantage with several hundred fans at a time. You can't even hear yourself think in there. So that opportunity and that luxury of being right outside of Boston, maybe only 20, 25 minutes outside of Boston, and having the facilities. And some of you may think, well, of course you're going to have facilities. My high school has facilities. But when you talk about the real estate in Boston and what a commitment Regis has made, you're going to start to see differentiating factors as you look at the schools you're considering. We know that's a real advantage for us, and we really take a lot of pride in that. And I hope someday you're going to have a chance to come and see our facilities if you haven't had a chance to take that virtual tour yet. Please do that. In terms of the role on campus, what we have on the PowerPoint, Vicki mentioned it a little bit in that our student athletes, and this is kind of unique to a lot of colleges, of our undergraduate population, our student athletes are a third of that total. To me, there's power in numbers. And when Santi's talking about the camaraderie and you're walking around, we dress our student athletes really well, and you have Regis basketball, Regis swimming, Regis lacrosse. There's a real positive connotation when you walk into a classroom and a professor sees a group of student athletes in their room. Our student athletes have posted over a 3.2 grade point average. That's a cumulative grade point average for almost 300 athletes for a number of years now. It's a positive. Again, academics are our priority. We're going to turn it over to Coach Santa Fe, who's going to talk about all of the different supports we have in place. And that support, whether you're an A student and you want to maintain your A, or whether you're trying to get the best grade possible, there's a lot of different support systems we have in place. But what we know is our student athletes are the leaders on campus. That could be one of you. And I really, again, want to appreciate you all for tuning in. I'm going to turn it over to our own Coach Santa Fe. And Ange, please mention your own background at Regis and how you came up through the ranks, the coaching ranks yourself.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be with you all tonight. Thank you for tuning in. It's really exciting for us to really talk about the ins and outs of our department and our institution. I have been in my head coach role going on my 8th year, and I was a graduate assistant myself the 2 years prior, so technically 10. I'm aging myself saying that. However, I've been really happy here, and I think a lot of that is the type of student athlete that we do receive and that are part of our programs in our department. We do have a philosophy of a student first, athlete second. And as much as that's a tagline for a lot of places, I think what separates us is one thing's to say it, the other is to have the structure put forward and the resources in order to set you up for that academic success. I think one of the biggest drivers is the clinical and the internship opportunities. We are outside of Boston, but it allows us to utilize the city for the best hospitals, the best clinics, the best resources that are available in the country, really. And that is something that will be walking into practice, and I'll hear our student athletes talking about their clinical day or what they saw in clinical. It's that hands-on learning that you're in the classroom and then you can go apply it. We utilize our philosophies, I'll speak for all the head coaches, to really promote that leadership. We utilize athletics for you, when you go to your clinical, you're not just there, you're separating yourself. You have a foot in the door at some of the most amazing places, and how you can make the most of that is really going to leverage your career outside of Regis. So as far as, the resources and the support, you're going to have everything you need. You need to come with your effort and your commitment to your education and your career, but you're not going to do that alone. And I think that's the biggest point to be made. We as coaches all have that academic first. We have team study halls. We all operate those differently, but we all have them because it's part of our philosophy in our department, and we want you to be set up for success in your education. Alongside of the study hall is the amazing free academic support that is provided from Regis for free. And I think that's really important. Like, that's why I say initially that, we're going to support you. We want you to be successful in the classroom first. And that's going to be a huge driver. And from academic coaches that you will be set up with, from tutors, I would say 80% of my roster is involved in some sort of tutoring. And it's different than high school, where it's not where you're failing a class or have a bad grade and you're forced into tutoring. This is for you to utilize the services to get from a B to an A. It's for you to set your goals of your academics for you to be supported in those. And with the resources on campus, us as coaches, we we know about these resources and we lead you there. You do the work, but you have that, those there for you. The library services are amazing. I forget how many years ago, but they put a lot of money into revamping our library. Comes with a Dunkin' Donuts too. My bank account didn't like that, but that's okay. And anything from the writing center and the accessibility office, everything is there for you, and you're not going to be trying to reach your goals academically alone. Our average GPA for student athletes is at 3.2. And that is, and correct me if I'm wrong, that is higher than the general population of the institution, but it's because you have the support, you have your teammates that are going to tutoring. I can walk into the library at 7 p.m. and see half of my team, half of Santi's team in the library doing work. So you're not in that alone. It's part of the culture that we do have at Regis. And then as far as from our department, we utilize Starfish. Starfish is a communication portal between Laura Violet, who's one of our assistant ADs. She is in charge of kind of communicating to coaches. If you're struggling with a class, you know, there's a way for professors to communicate. They can make comments. So it allows us to just support a little bit more and really get a good understanding as to what needs to change, what needs to be done in order to really help. So that really covers it. I think that's one of the reasons I've been here so long and planning on staying is I really truly believe in the education. I believe in the experience of athletics. I love watching my athletes win on and off the court. It's something we talk about a lot. I think that just from the resources and the support that Regis provides, it allows you to be successful in both of those areas. There will be conflicts with clinical and practices, and it's definitely a grind at times, but it's worth it for what you get out of it. And we always, as coaches, we put that student first. So if you have clinical and we have practice, you're going to clinical, and that's not going to hurt you. It's really a niche to be able to study nursing, study sonography, be in sports management, and be at your internship at night, but also not feel guilty about that. You're part of the program every day. It doesn't matter if you're at practice or not. So with that, I will turn it back to Dean Roker. And
that was a terrific job. And I really want our prospects on the call to think about what she said, because we really do walk the walk. And as you're talking to other colleges and you're thinking about playing elsewhere, I really want you to think about what she said. And Nate would say the same thing, Coach Hager, and all of our coaches. It's the philosophy of our department. If you had a clinical, if your internship, if you had a big review session for a class that was in conflict with the practice, the coaches know that they're going to release you from practice to go attend that clinical, to attend that review session. Now, that's not something you can do weekly. It's not something you can do every day. But the idea is our priority is on academics. And I would challenge any other school to really walk that walk, to really live up to that motto where they're going to support the student athletes without any repercussions. So I think that's huge. And you did a great job. And I think your student athletes have been amazing in the classroom. Our student athletes at Regis, have a high retention rate, which means they stay at Regis for 4 years and they graduate on time. That's our goal for you. Whether you're in our 3-year program, undergrad program, or our 4-year undergrad program, we want you to be able to do it all. Be a competitive athlete and do everything you need to do academically. And Vicki, because we do have a lot of prospective student athletes on the call that haven't made a decision to apply to Regis, can you talk about that differentiating factor with all of these services being rolled in, being included in their tuition? That it's at some schools, that's not the case from what I understand.
Absolutely, yeah. So any of these additional services that Coach Santa Fe just talked about, the tutoring, the advising, the writing center, the library services, these are all built into your tuition. That is unique, and that's something that we're really proud of at Regis, is there's no additional costs added to that. So once you are a student at Regis, all of these services are available to you. The other thing I would add is, and I would anticipate this question might be coming a little bit later on in the session, knowing that we have some potential nursing students on this call, some students who are looking to pursue some of those more rigorous health science programs, is, can I pursue nursing and still be a student athlete? Do I have time for both? The answer is yes, and all of this information right here is exactly why it can happen. And I think the relationship that exists between our academic coaches and our athletic coaches and the faculty really help to make that a real possibility. I have been on a lot of academic focus sessions in this fall, and a lot of the deans of our academic schools talk about how they can tell when they have a student athlete in their classes, or just because that structure, that time management has been a part of you for so long, and it's just such a huge thing to carry with you through that transition. I know Santi's going to talk to you a little bit about this from his own experience, but even from the admission world, we know when we're working with a student athlete that the hardest transition for a student from high school to college is that time management component, right? Going from such a structured day to maybe you have a class at 10 and then not again until 3. And like, what are you doing in between there? We know our student athletes have a routine and they're used to that. And if you're pursuing athletics at Regis, you're going to continue that type of structure and routine. And now you're doing it with so many levels of support, both on the athletic and academic side. So I echo what has already been said, but yes, I would really stress that all of these services are free to our students and really available to you at any time. And you will, at some point, every incoming freshman will have to meet with their academic coach at least once to really have that sit down to understand what they're there for, how they can help you. And then every freshman will be a part of our first year seminar course, and your professor in that course is also your first year academic advisor. So you can't even hide from these services if you wanted to. We are going to find you and you're going to know what's available to you. And then Coach Santa Fe is right. It's up to you to kind of keep that going. But as a student athlete, there's just that extra level of support built in to make sure that you are doing everything you can to be a successful student and athlete.
That's right. And we're going to talk to one of our most successful student athletes in the college when we bring Santi in a minute. But just to review, you're going to have your athletic coach if you end up coming to Regis and being on one of our teams. You're going to have your academic advisor. You're going to have your academic coach. And you're also going to have that Starfish program, which is going to be a warning. So what that says to me, if I'm a parent, if I'm thinking about sending my son or daughter to Regis, it says to me that my student is not going to fall through the cracks. There are tons of people that are going to be there to help you and support you. And really, that's the whole goal, is to tap into your competitiveness, to get you inspired, to be the best athlete and the best student. Now, we happen to have one of those people on this call. Santi, thank you so much for being here tonight. I know we did this in the summer, and we're thrilled that you came back, and I'm hoping you give our students on the call, our prospects, kind of an overview. I know you're going to talk about how you found Regis, how we found you, but I'm going to turn it over to you right now. Thank you again.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, yeah, to begin with, welcome everyone. Again, I cannot stress enough the fact that what you're doing right now just speaks very highly of you and sets you apart from so many student athletes that are in your same position right now. So thank you so much for taking the time to join us today in this call. And yeah, just like you, about 2 years ago, about a year and a half ago, I was in the same position as you guys are today. And well, to tell you a little bit about myself, I am from a different country. I'm from Colombia. I moved to the United States my junior year of high school to finish up high school in Florida. And there I was, approaching my senior year, having no clue where I was going to go. I didn't know if I was going to go to the West Coast, up north, if I was going to go to the Midwest, if I was going to stay down south. I had no idea. I knew in my mind that I needed a place where I could be successful both academically and athletically. And as soon as I found Regis, it was very clear to me the fact that in a school like Regis, I was going to be able to do just that. Starting with a competitive atmosphere athletically, starting with great academic support, great academic environment, and to be honest, one of the biggest advantages and one of the main reasons why I chose Regis is the size of the school. I like to have my personal attention in class. I can tell you right now, even in the most general courses or your prerequisites, you won't have more than 15 to 20 students, which allows your professor to get to know you personally, allows your professor to build a relationship with you, and allows you as a student athlete, in case you miss something because of a game, to catch up in a way that maybe in a school where you have a lecture with 300 people, that would not be possible. I am a people's person. I like to build up relationships, and I am a true believer that that's what life is all about. So I'm really grateful that the classrooms at Regis allow me to do just that. So in addition, one of the other biggest things for me is I want to be involved. I want to be, and I want to give back to the school as much as I can. And Regis allows me to do that. You know, there's many opportunities for you to be enrolled on campus. I'm going to give you two of the main opportunities that I do. And you might see me if you decide to apply to Regis and go through the process. I am an orientation leader, which means I get to work with first year students when they're in that process of transitioning to Regis. And I absolutely love my involvement as a student leader. It allows me to not only represent athletics to the first year students coming in that are athletes, but also to the students that just enjoy sports. Because let's be honest, at Regis, athletics is probably one of the biggest things you'll see. Everybody comes to your games. Everybody wants to be involved with athletics, and just to have that support and just to have that close community that's always going to be there for you. It really makes a difference when it comes to your performance, when it comes to how you feel when you play at home. In addition to that, I am also part of the SAC group, which is the Student Athlete Advisory Committee. And I have the honor to be Inclusive Excellence Representative. And I'm an advocate for inclusiveness and diversity, which are two of our main beliefs here on campus. And we always try to promote those. And trust me when I tell you, me coming from a different culture and a different country, I never felt out of place. Regis was always extremely welcoming. Everyone, not just the athletes, every student that goes here, they're just amazing people. You will never find yourself out of place or maybe like you don't know how to fit in. Trust me when I tell you, the community here is unbelievable as far as inclusiveness goes, and we're working hard to make it even better. So to tell you a little bit about my team and the commitment level, I think the best example I can use is a day in the life of a student athlete here at Regis. Usually a normal day during the season, setting aside a day with a game, I would usually wake up.
The non-pandemic season, right, Santi?
Exactly.
Okay.
So I would usually try to set up my classes in the morning because we would have practice in the afternoon. So I would try to be setting 2 to 3 classes a day, ideally. I remember my first semester, I had a day with 4 classes, which for me, it was no inconvenience. But again, I like to get them out of the way early so that I have time to prepare for practice. So usually that morning slot, it would be designated for class. Again, huge advantage, everything's walking distance. You don't have to rush from class to class, trying to worry that you have to take the car with your friend to make it to the science building and then go to College Hall. Everything's within 2-3 minutes walking distance, which is great. And again, if you have a 10-minute break, you can even go to Dunk's, get a coffee, and go to your next class. So as soon as I'm done with classes, again, cafeteria is right there. That's usually my go-to during the week. And I can tell you that the food here has gone really well and really good. There's been a lot of effort put into that. And as far as the afternoon goes, I will get ready for practice. Usually during the season, depending on the day of the week, depending when we have our next game, our regular practice schedule will look about an hour and a half of work on the field. And then those next 30 minutes we would probably spend on film, analyzing the team will play next and how we're going to adjust tactically. So I do have to say the commitment level is high and the expectation is for you to be as committed as you can. But it just goes to show that everything you do here at Regis, it will represent you and it will represent your team. So as long as you manage your time properly and get in the routine of class, sports, team hall, meeting, you go to team meals again, you'll find yourself in a very, very successful schedule that will allow you to manage your time and still do all the academics, all the athletics, and even have fun. So from my personal experience, I can tell you that having a team right away is great. It's a huge advantage. Those are going to be the first people you're going to meet on campus, and those are going to be your first group of friends. And you're going to probably stick together for the majority of your day. You're probably going to share some classes too, which is always great. And again, the community here at Regis, it's so close. We're all so caring and we're all so inclusive that you'll never find yourself going places alone unless you really have to. And then time management was huge for me. You know, as a student athlete, you are expected to have more stuff on your plate than regular students. But that's when the student athlete of Regis comes out. That's when the true student that knows how to manage their time comes out. And that's when I cannot stress enough how important it is to utilize all the resources that are available for you. I myself, at the very beginning, did not believe in the resources. I said they wouldn't help me. I said, you know what? I have it under control. I got it all figured out. I'll be fine. I was wrong. Let me just say that. And I remember just meeting with my academic coach. I thought it's because I was doing poorly. Turns out they just wanted to say, hey, look, I know we haven't met, but I just want to, you know, congratulate you, ask you how you're doing. You're doing really well academically. How's athletics? So just maybe have that 30-minute conversation with a person for you to share your experience. That to me was really helpful. She gave me tips on how to manage my time properly. And again, I cannot stress enough, having a routine for you to follow every day, that's crucial. That will keep you in check with your things. That will keep you organized. And again, just surround yourself with as many student athletes as you can and other students who will, at the end of the day, just want what's best for you. And as far as academic and career goals, I can tell you on a personal level, I am a biology and pre-medical major. So maybe I do have a lot on my plate, but it's totally doable. Dream big, you know. This is a place where all the resources are going to be available for you to utilize. Per se, last semester I did a shadowing program with an orthopedic surgeon in Waltham, and I didn't have transportation, and I was able to use the shuttle, again, one of our many services on campus, to access that internship, where in other schools, they would say, well, figure it out, you know, the internship is yours and it's your duty to figure it out. So it's always, to me, it's always so reassuring to know that there's always a helping hand willing to go the extra mile for me, because they know that when it comes to me on the field and in the classroom, I will go the extra mile for them and for Regis.
That's right.
So again, I cannot stress enough how supportive and how helpful not only athletics, but the school as a whole is. And yeah, just I hope this gave you a little bit of an idea of what it's like to be a student athlete here. Again, as a student athlete, you'll find yourself as a leader, and you'll find yourself in a position where you can influence other students' lives. And it's to the best of everyone's interest for us to be the ones setting up the standard high, and for us to be leaders by example. So again, thank you so much for your time. And if you do have any questions about either how it was before the pandemic or how it is right now, I'll be more than happy to answer any of those.
Santi, I have a question. In your role as an orientation leader, you worked with the class of incoming freshmen. Is that correct?
Yes.
How many of those freshmen are you still in touch with through this pandemic, through Zoom? Are you still kind of keeping tabs on those freshmen that are with us right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So actually part of my job description is to keep in touch with them. And at first I thought it was going to be a relationship of how are you, then saying I'm okay, and then that's my job done. But actually out of the FYS group that I got assigned had 21 students. And I can tell you that 15 plus still reach out to me weekly basis on social media. They're like, Santi, thank you so much for your advice on this. I found myself doing great in this aspect. I need to work in this aspect. What are your advices? So just know that even though I am doing a job, I want to be your friend, and I want you to be my friend here on campus, and I want you to see me as that first person that you can always rely on a student perspective. So actually, I was surprised and I was blown away by how many relationships I was able to build with the incoming class. And it's just, honestly, it's great because I can tell you from that group of 21 students, I believe 12 of them were athletes, which it's almost half. So yeah, I was really grateful with the opportunity, and I can tell you that I keep in touch with them a lot.
That's great. And you're only a sophomore, so you'll still be around for a couple more years with this class of incoming prospective student athletes that are on the call. Ange, I'm going to throw it over to you in a second as our Student Athlete Advisory Committee advisor to kind of talk to our prospects about what that committee is, how they may have a chance to participate. But we did get a question, Vicki, that I saw come in. And the question was, how do I know if I'm recruited? Mm-hmm. And this is one thing I would say to each of you on the call. So some of you may have called in because one of our assistant coaches or a head coach reached out to you and said, hey, you might want to tune into this virtual session tonight. Or you may have just received an email from Regis about this session and you saw it and you decided to tune in on your own. If you have not had any contact with one of our coaches yet, I would encourage you to check out our website, which is goregispride.com. Learn more about the coaches through reading their bios. And I would really, right now, I would write to one of the assistant coaches that are listed and say, I'm interested. I was on the virtual session. I'd like to learn more about your sport. I may want to play your sport if I come to Regis. And we can go and start the recruiting process that way. So you can actually recruit yourself to a coach as much as a coach could recruit you. I hope that makes sense to everybody. Ange, if there's anything you'd like to add about the recruiting piece, but also if you could just touch on what the Student Athlete Advisory Committee does, that would be great.
Yeah, I'll say, just in regards to the recruiting piece, obviously we are all in kind of some new waters with the recruiting in
virtually,
the world today.
Yes.
Yeah. So I will say, like, a lot of my active recruits right now have reached out to me, where I wasn't, on the court all summer watching basketball all summer and able to approach able to evaluate in person. And I know a lot of it's virtual. Like, if you don't have film, don't let that like steer you away from just reaching out to a coach. We will find a way, to make sure that you have the opportunity to be recruited. And I think it's a great question. It's a common question that we get. So, but especially in this day and age, like reach out. This is your process. We are very confident in Regis and what we can provide, but this is your process. We want what's best for you. And especially during this time, you all doing the right thing right now, but put yourself out there. Just like Dean Roker said, get on that assistant email. That's usually how it happens. My assistant is very, very communicative, and I know all the assistants that are in our department are. So I would invite you to be very proactive in that process for yourself, of course.
I can
Coach,
I can
talk
add
about,
one thing.
go ahead, Nate, and then I want to go back to Coach Santa Fe to hit on SAC, but go ahead,
Yep.
Nate.
Yeah, no, just one more thing about the recruiting process is on the goregis.com, goregispride.com website, there is a recruit me questionnaire. And that would be the easiest way. You can go and find the sport that you're interested in, and then hit the tab for the recruit me, and it'll lead you to the questionnaire. And that will go right to the assistant coach, right to the head coach,
Awesome.
and get all your information.
Great. Thank you, Coach. Coach Santa Fe,
Awesome.
what's SAC? What's the Student Athlete Advisory Committee?
So SAC is awesome. It's a group of leaders from each team in the department. So it's from anywhere from 3 to 4. So we have a group right now of about 41 student athletes that, we meet. Right now we're meeting by Zoom, and we go through everything from holding events on campus to fundraisers to working with the Children's Center. But we also have the ability to make an impact on our campus. It's not just solely for athletics. An example is, I think it was 2 years ago, we wanted graduation stoles to represent a student athlete. And that was approved through, upper campus, and was decided. But that was something SAC put together, and was really intentional about that information and why they wanted it. And so we do. SAC it's awesome. It's a great group of leaders. It's also a development opportunity to grow in leadership. We have an executive board. Santi is actually on it. He is our inclusion excellence. So we cover a lot of area on campus as well as our department. But it's a great opportunity to just be more involved. I always say it's great for your resume, but it's also a time to really connect with other student athletes and be part of something greater in our department.
Well, and the origin of the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, it's a NCAA initiative, was to be a liaison and a voice for the student athlete to the administration. Coach Santa Fe and her assistant Victoria Lux, who I think is on this call tonight. Hi, Lux. How you doing? Do a terrific job with our SAC committee. And that initiative that they talked about means in 5 years from now, if any of you prospective student athletes come to Regis, you're going to be draped with a student athlete stole along with your other memorabilia, and you're going to have an opportunity to wear that across the stage. And I can't tell you what that meant to me to have that initiative come from the Student Athlete Advisory Committee and to be able to help them get that passed through all of the academic committees. And I certainly can't tell you what that means to our student athletes, but you just see the sense of pride on their face when they get that stole awarded and they get a chance to wear that. Thank you so much, Coach Santa Fe. Now, Nate, I wanted to go back to something Santi said, and if you could just kind of talk about real briefly kind of a week. And I think that 6-day-a-week idea in a normal situation, obviously non-unprecedented pandemic-ish, what a practice game schedule, kind of the Saturday practice, kind of a 6-day-a-week model.
Yeah, sure. With the when we're in season, and we kind of subscribe to the same thing that Santi was saying about getting your classes in
Yep.
early, so that you can have time to prepare, whether it's physically or mentally prepare for practice, for games. But we all know as coaches that there will be times where student athletes won't be able to get to
Right.
practice, and in 14 years we have never had a student athlete miss a class because of practice, and I
Right.
can proudly say that. But yeah, it's there are opportunities after class and before practice where you can get in and meet with our uh, our uh, our sports medicine staff. There was three full-time staff members this past year where you can set up routines for therapy,
Yep.
and it's all in preparation to help the overall experience for the student athlete. But typically, if we're going to pick a week in the middle of the season, we don't practice any longer than an hour and a half to 2 hours. And I think similar to what Santi said, we do a lot of film work. We utilize systems where it's self-study, but also studying our opponents. Whether it's pre-practice or after practice, there is and and it's awesome to see our guys buy into wanting to compete, wanting to be better, and and everyone takes it pretty seriously. Game days, it's a special day. It's this is almost like a game day for me. This is to be here, just
Yes.
to talk about it and think about it. But our guys, we typically have a shoot around, or something like a walkthrough during the day, outside of class periods, and just to get some reps. The nice thing is, from our standpoint, the gym is mostly open throughout the day. There are some classes that do take place in the gym, but our guys get the ability to come in and shoot around. But we have a beautiful there's a beautiful team room, with it's a spot right outside the sports medicine, the
Yep.
training room, and guys mentally prep and get ready to go. But Typically it's 2 games a week. So there's nothing
Yep.
that's crazy. We may throw in some 3-game weeks to prepare for what the playoffs would look
Yep.
like. Our playoffs would be a 3-day a week, but yeah, it's a great experience, and it really tests kind of the time management skills. It really tests how do you react to adversity, and keeping a good attitude. So it's fun, it is.
Well, I'm glad you said that, Nate. And Vicky, I'm going to come back to you because I really want you to, I know everybody on this call has done a great job already researching Regis academically, but I do want you to hit that internship piece. But Nate just mentioned, Coach Hager, I'm sorry, just mentioned adversity. And again, anybody who's ever heard me speak has heard me say, I believe all the hype about athletics. I'm a former collegiate basketball player. I was a college basketball coach. I've been in the business over 35 years. I love student athletes. I believe in student athletes. And that you don't have to be the star of the team. I'm talking to every single person, and you may have a home at Regis because of your commitment. But what we're going through right now, this pandemic, I think our student athletes, I know on our campus it's true, they're able to dig a little deeper. They're more resilient. They've had to deal with adversity, whether it's I've been in the starting lineup, I lost my starting position, I have to fight and get it back, whatever it is. I know that the time management, their ability to adapt, their ability to be resilient and get through this time, because we are going to get through this pandemic. And it is different. And Nate's talking about game day, and it's making me excited because I remember how awesome that is. What I even remember back, it's a long time ago when I played, but it's still very exciting. And I know Santi talked about the vibrancy on our campus and what athletics brings. We probably hosted about 120 athletic contests over the course of a fall, winter, and spring under normal conditions. That brings a lot of excitement to our school. So again, I wanted to say that number one, student athletes, I believe in you. I love student athletes. I love what you stand for, everything you do, and however you have to achieve on your own high school campuses. I do hope you consider Regis and you keep taking a look at us. Before I give you my closing comments, and I want to throw it back to Coach Hager and Coach Santa Fe and Santi. Vicki, can you just touch on that internship piece? Because I do think that really differentiates Regis education as well.
Absolutely. So 100% of our students are required to complete at least one internship during their 4 years at Regis. I can say from many of the students I have worked with through the years, the majority of students will do more than one internship. It's awesome. That professional experience is a big part of the academic experience at Regis. I mean, you heard Santi talk about being able to do a shadowing experience as a first semester sophomore. So it's something we try to build in very purposely into your curriculum. Our location being so close to Boston obviously plays a huge role in that, really whatever your academic major is. As a nursing student or a sonography student, your clinical rotations, your clinical work is going to count towards that internship. If you are an education major, your student teaching experiences are going to count towards that internship. If you're dental hygiene, we have our Regis Dental Center, which is not amazing. Right on our campus. Yeah, exactly. It's amazing. But it's not located right on our campus. It's about 4 miles from our campus. And that was really put there on purpose. Our dental hygiene students, as part of their curriculum, have to maintain a certain amount of patients. And having our dental center exist kind of in more of a community setting is just allowing those relationships to form a little bit easier, as opposed to being tucked away on a college campus. So the internship experience is a huge part of what we do. We have our Center for Internship and Career Planning on campus. The director of that center, Susan Kennedy, is there really to make sure that not only you're getting that quality internship experience, but Regis itself is maintaining relationships with these hospitals, with these companies, with these organizations, so that these opportunities are always available to you.
It's awesome. What a great opportunity. I think Asante shadowing an orthopedic as only a sophomore. What a great opportunity for him. I want to throw it to Coach Santa Fe. You know, you mentioned your 10th year in the program. You know, I know you've won several championships, and you're a veteran on our staff. I know you also teach for the college. You teach a leadership class. I wanted to give you the floor. And I think we have all the participants we started with, Vicki, so that's really a great sign. Ange, I wanted to give you an opportunity to say some final words to everybody on this call, and I appreciate you again jumping on tonight and helping us out.
Yeah, sure. Again, I just got goosebumps when Hager was talking about game day. That's really what it's about, kind of coupled with the education that Regis provides. I spoke a lot about the resources, but I truly believe in the education. And I'm confident in saying that just looking at where my alums are in their life right now, that would, if they were on this call, they would 100% be echoing the education, passing their boards or their NCLEX on the first time. I haven't had an alum not pass the first time in so long, so it's doable. It takes
What is that, Ange? What is that test that you mentioned?
That's the nursing exam after. So, and almost every major has some sort of exam after, but it prepares you for your career after. And we're here as coaches to really provide that competitive atmosphere. We set academic goals and athletic goals, and we treat them just the same. And we just ask you to bring in your full effort. But again, like I can't stress enough, like if you want a place that you are going to reach your potential, I think everyone has potential, but it takes a work ethic to get there, but it also takes a village. And that's why we're here, and we're here to support that with the resources that Regis provides. You know, my biggest philosophy and my commitment to all my athletes is always, you're going to leave Regis as the best student, the best player, and the best leader in your 4-year tenure here. So that's what, and I speak for a lot, you know, all my head coaches and the staff. I mean, that is why we're here. We're passionate about you and your future. And I'm confident in speaking for our whole department in that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And I'm glad you mentioned that. If you have not had a chance to do some research on the assistant coach, on the head coaches, Vicki put the link up. It's www.goregispride. The camaraderie with the head coaches is outstanding. Their background as student athletes themselves, as coaches, have people that have come up through the assistant coaching ranks, but most importantly, and most important to me, and you've heard Coach Hager and Coach Santa Fe talk about it, is this idea of understanding the Regis philosophy, understanding that we want to win, we want to be competitive, we want to hang banners and win championships, but we don't want anything more than for each of you to have the best academic career and the best athletic experience that's possible. And Nate, I'm going to come back to you. You're going into your 14th year. You've been in the department, the athletic department, longer than anybody we have. Yeah, I would be remiss if I didn't give you a chance to make some final comment.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. You know, when we talk to recruits, we talk in terms of development, you know, and it's development of, you know, the total person, you know, from an academic level to development in athletics, and then a development as just being a person. And you know, there's nothing ever guaranteed, but you know, some of the things that we really stress, and it's sort of is very similar to what Coach Santa Fe said, is you're going to get a great education here. You know, if you put the work in, you know, if you go to class, you're on time, you're going to get a great education. I have no qualms about that whatsoever. The athletic piece, you're going to have a great experience. You know, there are resources. I think Regis is a school where we're a have. There's some schools that have things, and then there's have nots. And we have all the resources for you to be successful. And then the last thing is you're going to have a great community experience. Regis is so close knit, and Santi, you know, hit it right on the head. There's people that care about you. There's people that want to see you succeed. You know, we tell all our recruits, we want you to become great alums, you know, and give back to the school, you know, and from my program specifically, we want you to be great people in the community, great husbands, great fathers, great you know, great people that are going to make a difference. And we think that Regis can give you resources and tools to be on your way to find that path.
Absolutely. And I do want to commend Coach Hager and Coach Santa Fe. And I know it's hard to think 5-6 years down the road, but both of these coaches, along with all of our other coaches in the department, and Santi, you're a little bit closer to this, but the relationship they have with their alums, their alumni, it's continuing, it's ongoing. They have alumni days where the athletes are welcomed back to campus, but it's so much more. It's about being a part of their life, of following their careers. And I really want to thank you both for maintaining those relationships. And I know it's so important to each of you because you're really seeing your students grow up and become young adults and then wait till they're in their 30s and 40s, then it really gets interesting. But Santi, I want to give you a chance as well. Any parting comments, anything to close on? You've done a terrific job. Thank you so much for your time tonight. I know Coach Hager and Coach Santa Fe and I loved being here, but I would guess the student athletes on the call are really most interested in what you have to say. So anything you'd like to end with tonight?
Just again, recognize the fact that you guys are here tonight speaks very highly of you.
That's right.
You're doing the right thing. Getting out there and showing off pretty much yourself to all the colleges, it's very important. And the fact that you're doing it right now truly gives you an advantage in the recruiting process. Know that, we hope all of you come here to Regis. And if there's anything I can do for you or in any way I can help, I will drop my phone number and my email in the chat. If you want to reach out to me personally, feel free to do so, and know that I am here for you. And if you want me to be your first friend at Regis, I would be more than happy. Again, thank you so much for coming out tonight, and I hope this discussion was helpful and it gave you a little bit of an idea of what Regis stands for and what we're like at Regis College.
Awesome. Santi, thank you. Vicki, I think, one of my questions is, if I'm on the call right now and maybe I haven't applied to Regis yet, can you provide some information for any of the student athletes on the call as to what maybe their next steps could be?
Yeah, absolutely. So I put our main admission email in the chat for all of you. So in terms of the recruiting question that we got earlier, if you haven't been in touch with a head coach or an assistant coach yet, chances are you have received emails from your admission counselor or from myself, even inviting you to this event. By all means, we work very closely with the athletics, with all of the head coaches and assistant coaches. So if you have formed a relationship with your admission counselor, please reach out, and they can also help to get you in touch with who you need to on the athletics side. Our early action application deadline is November 15th. If you are to get us all of your materials by then, you are guaranteed your admission decision by the holidays. With that said, though, we do work on a rolling admission basis. So really, once your application is complete, we are going to turn that around as quickly as we can for you. We say about 2 weeks from when we have all of your materials, you'll receive your admission decision and your scholarship information from us. So for all of our programs right now, we use the common application. It's answering one essay question from the common application, one letter of recommendation from either a teacher or your guidance counselor, only one is required, and then your high school transcript. So for anybody applying for fall of 2021, we are test optional for all of our programs. So that would include nursing and dental hygiene. You do not need to submit test scores. And the important thing to know about that is testing has nothing to do with the scholarship that you'll receive. So those are solely based on your GPA. And you're automatically considered for any of our merit scholarships, and you would get notification of what that would be along with your decision letter. 100% of our incoming freshmen this past year received some kind of merit scholarship from us. And really the way it works is the higher your GPA, the higher your scholarship would be. Those are ranging anywhere from about 17 to 28,000, just to kind of give you a sense. The other thing I would add, and I think one of the benefits of being a Division III school, is that your scholarship will stay with you throughout your time at Regis, assuming you're maintaining good academic standing. So if anything were to happen on the athletic side, if you're to get hurt, if you're to decide halfway through that you need to make some changes, or you don't want to play anymore, obviously the coaches on here don't want to hear you say that, but your scholarship won't change as a result of that. So the money you'll receive up front in institutional aid from Regis is our funds that you can count on throughout your time at Regis.
Vicki, I want to just jump in. And again, what Vicki said, NCAA Division III schools do not have any athletic related aid. So we don't have athletic scholarships. You wouldn't lose your aid if you were not participating on a team. There is also the flip side of that would be if you decided as a freshman you weren't sure if you wanted to play and then you wanted to try out for a team, you would reach out to the coach and you would have that option of trying out maybe as a sophomore or when you felt more comfortable. And again, your aid would not be affected.
Yeah.
Sorry to jump in on you, Vicki. I don't know if you were done.
So if you are somebody who has not applied yet, your next step would be to start filling out that common application and getting that to us. And then you'll start hearing from your admission counselor on some of the other information we need. I know there are some of you on this call tonight who have already received that acceptance. So congratulations to those who are very early accepted students. And yeah, so please use that main admission email for any questions following the session in regards to really anything we talked about. We can certainly connect you to whoever's needed on the athletic side as well.
Thank you so much, Vicki. Thank you to everybody who jumped in and joined us tonight. As Santi said, or Coach Hager said, you're doing the right thing. You're doing the homework. You're putting your time in after a long day on the Zooms with your high school classes. I hope you feel like you've really got a sense of Regis Pride Athletics, what we stand for, how we can help you, support you in your athletic pursuits and in your academic endeavors and help you achieve all your goals. But we really appreciate you being here tonight. I put my email on the chat, so if anybody has any follow-up questions, please don't hesitate. And I'd like to thank Coach Hager, Coach Santa Fe, Santi, you're the best. Thank you guys so much. And Vicki, thank you for putting this night together and for inviting all of us.
Great. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you all.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Good luck, everybody.
Thank you.
Hope to see you next fall.
Yeah.